What if I told you the secret weapon of the Samsung Galaxy S26 might not be a camera, a chipset, or a new display at all, but a next-gen security feature that, until now, has been exclusive to Google Pixel phones? Yes, we're talking about Google's AI-powered scam detection, one of the biggest headline features of the Pixel 9 series, now quietly preparing to jump to the Galaxy S26 lineup, according to new code leaks. If this plays out the way it's looking right now, the Galaxy S26 could be the first non-Pixel phone to ship with Google's on-device Gemini Nano scam protection built in. And that could completely change how Samsung markets the S26 series, not just as another flagship, but as one of the safest, most secure Android phones on the planet. Let's break down exactly what's going on, what we found in Google's own apps, and then zoom out into the wider Galaxy S26 leaks. Models, specs, chips, cameras, and release timing. First, a quick recap. What is Google's AI scam detection and why does it matter? Introduced with the Pixel 9 series, Google's AI scam detection is a live, on-device protection system that listens for scam patterns during calls and scans texts and chats for suspicious language. Using Gemini Nano, Google's smallest on-device AI model, it can analyze a conversation in real time and warn you if something looks like a phishing attempt, a bank scam, or a social engineering attack. You're on a call and someone suddenly asks you to urgently transfer money, share one-time passwords, or install a remote access app. The Pixel can pop up a warning on screen. You get a message in a chat app that looks like your bank but is asking for login details. Scam detection can flag it. The key is, it runs on the phone, not in the cloud, so your conversations stay private. Up to now, this feature has been a major Pixel exclusive, a big part of Google AI-first smartphone story. But that exclusivity might not last much longer. Digging through version 2060857 of the Phone by Google app, code sleuths found new references that point directly at Samsung's upcoming Galaxy S26 series. In the app's internals, right alongside model numbers and code names for supported Pixel devices like the Pixel 9 and Pixel 10 families, there are entries that appear to match Galaxy S26 model identifiers. In the strings you can see a device labeled in a way that lines up with the base Galaxy S26, for example, something like SM-S942. Another matching what would be the Galaxy S26, SM-S947. And a third resembling the Galaxy S26 Ultra, SM-S948. These are grouped in the same block as Pixel devices that support scam detection. Even more interesting, the internal code name for the scam detection pipeline in the Google Phone app, Sharpie, is referenced right alongside those Samsung model entries. Put simply, Google appears to be wiring up the Galaxy S26 series to use the same AI scam detection framework currently reserved for Pixels. That suggests the S26 phones will also ship with on-device Gemini Nano capabilities dedicated to catching scams before they catch you. But there's a weird problem. Google's Phone app is not the default dialer on Samsung Galaxy phones. On every Galaxy S device right now, including the Galaxy S25 family, the pre-installed dialer is Samsung Phone, not Phone by Google. Yes, you can download the Google Phone app from the Play Store on a Galaxy and set it as your default dialer. But when you do that, it installs as a user app, not as a privileged system app. Why does that matter? Because deep call screening features, real-time scam detection, and certain telephony hooks typically require system-level permissions that user apps don't automatically get. On Pixels, Google Phone is baked into the OS with higher privileges. On a Galaxy S26, if it's just another Play Store app, it might not have enough access to perform full AI scam detection. So for this feature to properly land on the Galaxy S26 series, one of three big things has to happen. Samsung pre-installs Google Phone as a system app. Samsung could ship the Galaxy S26 with both Samsung Phone and Google Phone, or even replace Samsung Phone entirely and make Google Phone the default dialer. This sounds extreme, but there is precedent. Google exposes new APIs that let Samsung's dialer tap into scam detection. Google could provide an API that allows Samsung's own phone app to call into Gemini Nano's scam detection engine on device, so the feature works even while Samsung keeps its own dialer. This would be a quieter, behind-the-scenes integration. A special partnership gives the S26 series extra privileges. Google and Samsung might cut a specific deal where the Galaxy S26 series gets privileged treatment inside Google Phone or through Play services, elevating it closer to Pixel-like status for certain AI safety features. Now remember what Samsung already did in 2024. To better support modern RCS messaging, Samsung dropped its own Samsung Messages app as the default texting app on many Galaxy phones and switched to Google Messages instead. Google Messages uses Google's own Jibe servers for RCS, while Samsung Messages depended on carriers to implement RCS correctly, and many carriers never did. So Samsung has already proven it's willing to replace its own core communication apps with Google's when the user experience is clearly better. For messaging, that trade-off made sense. For calling, it hasn't happened yet because there's no RCS-style technical requirement forcing the issue. But now Google might be sweetening the pot with exclusive AI security features. Imagine the marketing line, Galaxy S26, the first non-pixel with Google AI scam detection. For Google, it spreads their AI safety tools to millions more users. For Samsung, it turns the S26 into a phone they can sell not just on cameras and performance but on security and peace of mind. Right now, nothing about this has been publicly announced by Google or Samsung. The code references could change, be experimental, or be disabled before launch. But the fact that the Galaxy S26 model numbers and the Sharpie scam detection tag appear together in the Google Phone app is a strong hint that both companies are at least testing this behind the scenes. While we wait for official confirmation, let's zoom out and look at what else we know or think we know about the Galaxy S26 lineup. After Samsung's latest foldables were revealed in July, all eyes turned to the next big Galaxy S launch. If Samsung sticks to its usual pattern, the Galaxy S26 series launch date will fall in early 2026, most likely January or February. This time though, we might not just see 3 models. Leaks suggest Samsung is considering 4 Galaxy S26 variants instead of the usual trio. Galaxy S26, Galaxy S26 Plus or possibly replaced, Galaxy S26 Edge, Galaxy S26 Ultra. The wildcard here is the Edge model. For the Galaxy S25 generation, Samsung reportedly used the S25 Edge to test the waters with a curved, more premium mid-tier flagship. But according to several reports, the S25 Edge has not been a strong seller so far. That leaves Samsung with 2 major options for the Galaxy S26 series. Keep 4 models: S26, S26 Plus, S26 Edge, S26 Ultra. Or let the S26 Edge replace the S26 Plus if the Edge branding performs better than expected. Right now, many analysts think Samsung may actually go with 4 devices next time to cover every price and feature bracket more aggressively, especially with Apple and Chinese OEMs pushing hard at the high end. There's also talk of Samsung shaking up the base model name. Instead of just a Galaxy S26, we could see a Galaxy S26 Pro acting as the new entry model. This rumored Galaxy S26 Pro would feature a slightly larger 6.27-inch display, a 4300 mAh battery, about 300 mAh more than the Galaxy S25's base model. That combination would put more pressure on mid-range competitors and make the entry Galaxy S26 feel less like a compromise and more like a real flagship. Under the hood, we know one thing for sure: new chips are coming. The Galaxy S26 family will almost certainly ship with next-generation Snapdragon and Exynos SoC, continuing Samsung's dual-chip strategy. Galaxy S26 Ultra and Galaxy S26 Edge, likely powered globally by Qualcomm's next flagship, the successor to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4, often referred to in leaks as the Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 or Snapdragon 8 Elite. Galaxy S26 and S26 Plus or Pro. In the US, Canada, and China, these should also get Qualcomm's latest Snapdragon flagship. In most other regions, Samsung is expected to use its own Exynos chip. The Exynos situation is where things are still murky. Samsung is working on Exynos 2600 built on a cutting-edge 2nm process. Exynos 2500, which debuted earlier in 2025 in devices like the Galaxy Z Flip 7. At this stage, it's unclear whether the Galaxy S26 series will pair with the newer 2nm Exynos 2600 or stick with a refined Exynos 2500 for one more cycle. Either way, Samsung will be pushing efficiency and AI performance hard to compete with Qualcomm and Apple. On memory and storage, the baseline for the Galaxy S26 specs looks strong. 12 GB RAM and 256 GB storage as the standard configuration across most of the lineup. Optional 512 GB and 1 TB storage tiers. A 16 GB RAM plus 1 TB storage.